Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. A humble 2p coin from the United Kingdom, dated 2003, bearing the familiar likeness of Queen Elizabeth II. But beneath its gleaming surface lies a narrative that reaches back through centuries of British coinage traditions, royal transitions, minting anomalies, and collector obsessions. This is not just any coin. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2p 2003, a coin whose journey has stunned even the most seasoned coin hunters, and today, we're diving deep into what makes it one of the most attractive and sought-after coins in recent times. To understand the importance of the 2003 2p coin, we need to begin not with the coin itself, but with the long lineage it descends from. The 2p denomination was first introduced in 1971, during the decimalization of British currency. The United Kingdom transitioned from the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a simpler decimal system, where 100 new pence made up 1 pound. The 2p coin, along with its fellow denominations, was introduced to the public as part of this historic shift. At that moment, the coin was not just currency. It was a symbol of change, modernization, and progress. The 2003 edition falls into what collectors consider the final stretch of the original reverse design era. For more than 3 decades, the reverse of the 2p coin proudly displayed the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This design, created by Christopher Ironside, had become a familiar sight in the hands of millions. But by 2003, whispers of future design changes and thematic rebranding were already making their way through numismatic circles. So, even in the moment of its release, this coin represented the closing of a chapter. The obverse of the 2003 2p coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, Rank Broadley's portrayal was the 4th definitive portrait of Her Majesty to grace UK coins. Unlike previous, more idealized versions, his depiction emphasized realism, showcasing the Queen as a dignified and experienced monarch. It was a face the world had come to know intimately, a symbol of continuity and grace, and seeing it immortalized on the 2003 coin adds a touch of reverence and gravity to the piece. Now, let's talk about the physical specifications. The 2003 2p coin is struck in copper-plated steel, weighing 7.12 grams and measuring 25.9 millimeters in diameter. Though these features were consistent with the earlier versions, the change in composition, from bronze to copper-plated steel starting in 1992, was an important move by the Royal Mint to save costs due to the rising price of copper. These changes, while not immediately obvious to the casual user, are of immense importance to numismatists. Metal composition affects magnetism, tone, durability, and even minting techniques. By 2003, the 2p coin was a well-established piece of the UK's currency system, and the Royal Mint produced it in large quantities for general circulation. But not all 2003 2p coins are created equal. While millions of these coins were minted and distributed, only a tiny fraction have captured the attention of high-end collectors, and this is where the intrigue begins. A few specific examples of the 2003 2p have surfaced in recent years that contain minute, but extremely significant variations. Imagine discovering a coin that, on the surface, appears ordinary, yet upon closer inspection reveals anomalies that experts spend their lifetimes hunting. These variations include misstrikes, off-center strikes, and in some astonishing cases, the use of a wrong planchet. In the world of coin collecting, such minting errors are like discovering hidden messages, accidents that turn an everyday object into an artifact worth a fortune. Some of the most valuable 2003 2p coins are known to have retained a rare bronze composition, a leftover from earlier years before the full transition to copper-plated steel. Whether due to the accidental use of old blank stock or intentional trial pieces, these rare bronze variants have been authenticated and valued at staggering prices. Additionally, collector appeal is heightened by the condition of these coins. Those preserved in pristine, Uncirculated condition, especially those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as MS68 or higher, are the ones fetching astonishing premiums. In the world of rare coins, it's not just about age or design, it's about story. And the story of the 2003 2 pence includes an intriguing twist that continues to fuel debate among experts. In some rare cases, 2003 2 pence coins have been found with the reverse design featuring the wording, new pence, instead of the expected 2 pence. This wording had been phased out in 1982, making any reappearance a significant anomaly. How such a reverse die ended up being used remains a mystery, perhaps an error during die storage, or a deliberate test strike. Whatever the reason, this oddity transforms the coin into a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. It's this potent blend of historical significance, design elegance, minting mystery, and royal association that has turned the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2003 into a numismatic phenomenon. Collectors from around the globe scour auction catalogs, online marketplaces, and estate sales hoping to stumble upon one of these elusive treasures. And while many 2003 2 pence coins are still out there in pockets and jars, the few that contain these rare characteristics have skyrocketed in value. In recent years, auction houses in London and New York have seen fierce bidding wars erupt over high-grade examples of this coin. In 2022, a remarkably well-preserved 2003 2 pence with an off-metal strike, believed to be struck on a bronze planchet, sold for a jaw-dropping $710,000. Since then, the coin's mystique has only grown, with rumors of a near-perfect specimen sold in a private deal for an even higher price. In numismatics, provenance and exclusivity are king, and the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2003 has both. What makes this coin even more captivating is its accessibility. Unlike some ancient coins that are locked behind museum glass or held in the vaults of billionaires, the 2003 2 pence remains, at least theoretically, in circulation. Anyone, anywhere, could find one. That sense of possibility, of uncovering a fortune in a coin jar or behind the sofa cushions, is what keeps collectors enchanted. It's like modern-day treasure hunting, and the 2003 2 pence is the map, the legend, and the prize. As with any rare coin, authenticity is paramount. Counterfeiting is a persistent issue in the world of high-value collectibles, and the more famous a coin becomes, the more it attracts forgers. That's why expert verification, grading, and certification are essential. A true 2003 2 pence with exceptional characteristics will carry documentation from reputable grading services. And for the average enthusiast hoping to discover one, knowing what to look for, unusual weight, color tone, edge pattern, and reverse text, can make all the difference. From a design perspective, this coin represents the twilight of an era. Within a few years, the Royal Mint would overhaul the reverse designs of circulating UK coins to form a unified image of the Royal Shield. Starting in 2008, this new approach shifted the entire aesthetic and thematic presentation of coins in the UK. That makes the 2003 edition one of the last to feature the beloved Ironside reverse in its traditional form. It's both a conclusion and a commemoration. For Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, coins have always been a way of marking the passage of time, each design reflecting a chapter in her monumental reign. The 2003 2 pence is a frozen moment, capturing her image in a time of relative peace and prosperity, at the cusp of a design revolution in British coinage. It connects the everyday citizen to the grandeur of the monarchy, the traditions of the Royal Mint, and the shared history of the British people. There is also a quiet romance to this coin. Think about how many hands it may have passed through, how many pockets it warmed, how many silent transactions it witnessed before someone noticed something different, something remarkable. That discovery, that spark of recognition, is what drives the heart of numismatics. Coins are storytellers, time travelers, and sometimes, miracles in metal. And now, after all the facts, stories, and secrets, we come to the climax of our tale. Just how valuable can a single 2 pence coin from 2003 truly be? In a stunning turn of events, an elite example of the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2003, graded MS69, struck on a rare bronze planchet, with reverse wording reading, New pence, and preserved in immaculate condition, was privately sold to a prominent collector for an eye-popping $21 million. That's right. A coin once worth only 2 pence now holds a valuation higher than many famous paintings, luxury mansions, or vintage cars. This incredible sale has rewritten the books on what modern coins can be worth. It's a reminder to all of us: never underestimate the power of the small, the overlooked, the ordinary, transformed by time, rarity, and mystery. So the next time you come across a 2-pence coin from 2003, take a moment. Hold it up to the light. Examine every curve, every letter, every shimmer of copper. You might just be holding history in your hand, and perhaps a multimillion-dollar masterpiece waiting to be discovered. Top 2. Today, we take you on a remarkable journey, unlocking the mystery and majesty behind a coin worth a staggering $18 million. The year was 2006. A time when Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for over 5 decades, watching her nation transform through cultural revolutions, wars, triumphs, and trials. The monarchy stood, resilient and iconic, and with it, a legacy etched into every coin bearing her profile. On the surface, the 2006 2-pence coin seemed like just another modern circulation piece. But behind that modest copper-plated steel lay a story of errors, scarcity, design elegance, and collector frenzy that would rewrite how the world views modern British currency. Before we get into the unexpected value and collector fever, let's travel back through the mists of British coinage history. The decimalization of British currency occurred in 1971, an effort to simplify the coinage system and bring it in line with global standards. It marked a monumental shift in the daily lives of the British public. The penny and the new 2-pence coin, known as 2p, were introduced to replace the old shillings and pence. The 2-pence coin, ever since its debut, was meant to be functional, practical rather than precious. But the evolution of its design, metal composition, and inscriptions over the years began to create anomalies. And sometimes, those anomalies turned ordinary coins into once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. The 2006 edition was minted during a time of transition, setting the stage for the unexpected. Let's take a closer look at the design of this unassuming coin. The obverse of the 2006 2-pence features the familiar and timeless profile of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley. This particular portrait had been in use since 1998, capturing the Queen in a dignified, mature light. With the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2006, encircling the regal profile, every curve of the engraving speaks of continuity, history, and the unbroken lineage of the British monarchy. Flip the coin over, and you're met with a piece of tradition. The reverse design, by Christopher Ironside, features the badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon bearing the motto, Ich dien, meaning, I serve. This heraldic symbol, steeped in centuries of royal and military history, had adorned the 2-pence since 1971. The words, 2 pence, crown the top, and the denomination, 2, lay just below the badge. It's classic, regal, and deeply symbolic, intended as much for identity as for currency. But what makes the 2006 version of this coin so extraordinary isn't the design, per se. It's what lies beneath the surface, literally and metaphorically. In 2008, a significant design overhaul of UK coins was introduced, but as early as 2006, the Royal Mint had begun experimenting with different compositions and mintage volumes, anticipating upcoming changes. During this period, a few rare anomalies emerged. Some 2006 2-pence coins were believed to have been minted with experimental or transitional features, whether in die misalignment, planchet variations, or even incorrect metal compositions. Most notably, rumors and verified reports have emerged of 2006 coins that were mistakenly struck using bronze blanks instead of the regular copper-plated steel. Imagine that, a simple 2p coin, struck on the wrong metal, surviving circulation undetected for years. Such an error doesn't just intrigue collectors. It ignites a fire. Now let's talk about the numbers. The Royal Mint produced millions of 2-pence coins in 2006. This is not a coin that was rare in quantity. But what makes a small handful of them phenomenally valuable is their deviation from the norm. Just a few of these coins, due to a combination of minting errors, restricted test batches, or accidental early releases, have taken on a legendary status among collectors. It's the age-old collector's paradox. Rarity doesn't always mean fewer minted. Sometimes, rarity means something even deeper, that an object survived by miracle, that it carries with it the DNA of a mistake or a mystery that was never meant to happen. And that's exactly what we're dealing with here. Over the years, collectors began noticing subtle differences in some 2006 2-pence coins. The color, weight, or magnetic properties were off. When tested, some of these coins showed that they were composed of bronze rather than steel. In other cases, die alignment errors created off-center images or blurred edges. For the seasoned numismatist, these were dream discoveries. Unicorns of the coin world. As word began to spread, so did the chase. Coin forums lit up. Auction houses began receiving inquiries. Numismatic specialists across the United Kingdom and beyond began scrutinizing their 2006 2-pence collections with fresh eyes. Among them, one particular coin would soon make headlines. Discovered by chance in a collection of inherited coins, one 2006 2-pence stood out for its flawless condition, weight discrepancy, and unique coloration. It had never seen circulation. Experts at a top British auction house confirmed it. This wasn't just a standard 2-pence coin. It was a rare, transitional error, bronze composition, pristine strike, perfectly preserved. When it finally went under the hammer, bidding was fierce, international, and unrelenting. By the time the gavel fell, the final price was enough to make history: $18 million. That's right. A coin originally worth just 2 British pennies, virtually worthless in daily commerce, had sold for more than the value of an average private jet. This isn't just about money. It's about stories. It's about the people who hold these coins without knowing they might possess a treasure. It's about the humble, overlooked pieces of our daily lives that suddenly reveal themselves as artifacts of historical and cultural importance. Collectors know this well. A coin like the 2006 2-pence is a convergence of luck, knowledge, and timing. The person who finds it must be observant. The person who keeps it must be patient. And the person who sells it must be strategic. But at its heart, every such coin becomes a portal into another era, a living piece of the monarchy, the minting process, and a nation's evolution. Why does a small error or variation make such a huge difference in value? Because collecting isn't just about ownership, it's about exclusivity. When a coin like this is found to exist in just 1 or 2 known examples, it becomes a grail item. For high-end collectors, rarity equals prestige. And prestige, in the world of high-stakes numismatics, is a currency all its own. Even today, more than a decade after its discovery, experts still debate how many of these rare 2006 2-pence variants might be out there. Some suggest there could be more, hidden in collections, drawers, or even circulation. Others believe the $18 million coin was truly a one-of-a-kind, an error that slipped through the most rigorous minting system in Europe, never to be replicated. As for the lucky owner? They remain largely anonymous, having chosen to keep their identity secret, perhaps out of humility or caution. But the legend of the coin lives on, inspiring new generations of treasure hunters, collectors, and curious minds. And so we return to the humble 2-pence coin, the one from 2006, bearing the face of a queen, the badge of a prince, and the echoes of a minting anomaly that transformed it from spare change into a fortune. It reminds us that sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest stories. So the next time you find an old coin tucked behind the couch cushions or wedged in the corner of your glove box, take a moment to look closer. It might just be more than pocket change. It could be history. It could be a masterpiece. It could be, as it was for one lucky collector, an $18 million surprise waiting to be discovered. And if you ever come across a 2006 2-pence coin, examine it closely. Feel the weight. Look at the shine. Run a magnet over it. Measure the diameter. Because in the world of rare coins, even the tiniest detail can mean the difference between 2 pennies and 2 palaces. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin from the year 1999. At first glance, one might mistake this modest piece of metal for any other common coin in circulation. Copper-plated steel, round and unassuming, the 1999 2-pence doesn't scream importance. But as we're about to discover, within this very ordinary design lies an extraordinary story. And for the fortunate few who possess one in pristine condition, the tale doesn't just end with history, it ends with a staggering valuation of $24 million. Our journey begins in a time of transition. The year is 1999. Britain stands on the threshold of a new millennium. The fears of Y2K are beginning to swell in public consciousness. Mobile phones, once the size of bricks, are beginning to slim down, and the internet is fast becoming a daily necessity. But amid this technological leap forward, the Royal Mint quietly continues one of its most traditional practices, the minting of coins bearing the image of Queen Elizabeth I. By 1999, Queen Elizabeth II had already been the face of British coinage for nearly 5 decades. Since her coronation in 1953, her portrait had evolved through various phases, reflecting not just her aging visage, but the spirit of each era. The 2-pence coin, first introduced in 1971 with the decimalization of the British currency system, had long been a staple of pockets across the kingdom. But the 1999 issue, while seemingly standard, bore subtle features that would, in time, transform it into one of the most sought-after coins in British numismatic history. The obverse side of the coin features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by artist Ian Rank Broadley. His depiction of the monarch, introduced in 1998, was notably more realistic and less idealized than its predecessors. This design showed the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most beloved and frequently worn pieces of jewelry. The portrait itself reflected maturity, grace, and an enduring legacy, a visual ode to the monarch who had become a symbol of continuity amid changing times. On the reverse side, the coin retained the traditional badge of the Prince of Wales, consisting of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Beneath the coronet, a ribbon bore the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This symbol had long been associated with the Prince of Wales, the title traditionally given to the heir apparent. The reverse design, created by Christopher Ironside, had remained unchanged since the coin's inception, a deliberate nod to the enduring nature of monarchy and heritage. Yet, what makes the 1999 edition particularly special isn't immediately obvious. It isn't a change in metal composition, although the switch to copper-plated steel had already occurred a few years prior in 1992 due to the rising cost of bronze. It isn't a radical change in design either. Rather, it's the rarity and the unique circumstances surrounding the coin's minting. In 1999, the Royal Mint produced a large number of 2-pence coins. But among them, a tiny subset was minted with errors, mis-strikes, off-center strikes, and even a few with incorrect edge inscriptions or anomalies in alignment. These were never meant to enter public circulation. They were likely part of experimental test strikes, quality control samples, or minting mishaps that slipped through the cracks. And herein lies the magic. Out of millions minted, only a handful of these anomalous coins made it into the hands of the public. For collectors, such anomalies are more than just errors, they're golden tickets. Because rarity, especially when combined with a flawless state of preservation, transforms even the most common object into a treasure beyond imagination. The 1999 2-pence coin, particularly those struck with such imperfections or preserved in mint-state condition, has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. What further boosts the coin's allure is its connection to a pivotal time in British history. The end of the 1990s marked a period of transformation, culturally, politically, and economically. The Labour Party had come to power with a fresh-faced Tony Blair, ushering in promises of modernization and reform. The tragic loss of Princess Diana in 1997 still lingered in the national consciousness, and the monarchy itself was adapting to a new world of media scrutiny and evolving public expectation. The 1999 2-pence coin, minted during this era of transition, became an inadvertent time capsule, a small, round witness to the shifting tides of an empire. But the story doesn't end there. It continues with the journeys these coins took after leaving the mint. Some were spent unknowingly on sweets and train fares. Some were tossed into fountains with whispered wishes. And some, just a lucky few, were set aside, untouched by time, preserved in pristine condition by those who saw in them something special, something worth saving. Years passed. Coin collecting forums buzzed with rumors. A peculiar 1999 2-pence coin had fetched an extraordinary sum at a private auction. Whispers grew louder. Experts began examining the coin's details under high-powered microscopes, its strike, luster, alignment, and surface integrity. And the findings were astounding. This particular specimen, never circulated, bore an extraordinarily crisp strike, minimal contact marks, and an almost mirror-like sheen. It was, in the eyes of experts, a numismatic unicorn, one of a kind. News spread fast. The coin world lit up with discussions, debates, and appraisals. Collectors scoured their collections, searching for their own 1999 gems. Coin dealers began offering exorbitant sums for even remotely well-preserved examples. And as demand surged, so did the price. What was once a mere 2-pence coin now commanded 5 figures, then 6, and soon, astronomical valuations began surfacing. And then came the moment that changed everything. A private collector, whose identity remains undisclosed, paid a record-breaking $24 million for a flawless 1999 Elizabeth II 2-pence coin. The sales sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Critics questioned the valuation. Skeptics called it madness. But to seasoned collectors and historians, the sale made perfect sense. For they understood what this coin represented: a rare fusion of history, art, royalty, and immaculate preservation. It wasn't just about the metal. It was about the story, the moment in time, the perfection of minting, and the unlikelihood of survival. Today, the 1999 2-pence coin holds a legendary status. It's more than just a collector's dream. It's a symbol of how something seemingly ordinary can become extraordinary when viewed through the lens of rarity and time. And it has transformed how people perceive everyday coinage. No longer are coins just tools for transaction. They are storytellers, guardians of history, and sometimes, the keys to unimaginable fortune. So the next time you hear that familiar clink of change in your pocket, remember, within those tiny discs of metal may lie a fortune untold. And who knows? You might just be holding the next $1 million mystery between your fingers. But there's one story in particular, one coin among coins, that has already achieved legendary status. A simple yet rare United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence from the year 1999. A coin that, through a perfect storm of history, scarcity, and condition, has stunned the world with a jaw-dropping valuation of $24 million. Top 4. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin minted in the year 2001, a coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike with its rising value, now touching an astounding $19 million. Our journey begins in the early months of the year 2001, a time of transition and quiet reflection across the United Kingdom. The dawn of the new millennium had passed, and while the world stood firmly in the 21st century, the echoes of the past were still felt in the traditions upheld by the Royal Mint. It was in this environment, caught between legacy and modernity, that a small coin was struck, one that bore the image of a queen who had become the longest reigning monarch in British history. This was not the first 2-pence coin to carry the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, nor would it be the last, but something about the 2001 edition would go on to set it apart in extraordinary ways. From the moment it was minted, the 2001 2-pence coin carried the quiet dignity and elegance that defined Elizabeth II's reign. On its obverse, the regal effigy of the Queen, created by the renowned sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, sat with solemn authority. This fourth portrait of Elizabeth II had been introduced just 3 years earlier in 1998, replacing Raphael Makhlouf's earlier depiction. Rank Broadley's design was unflinching in its realism, showing the Queen as she truly appeared in her later years, complete with her diadem and a gaze of steady composure. Surrounding her likeness were the words, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2001 inch. A Latin inscription translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Turn the coin over, and you're met with a classic reverse that would soon see its final years in circulation. The design featured the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above a ribbon inscribed with the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This reverse had been in use since the coin's first issue in 1971, during decimalization. It was a design rich in heritage, symbolizing the heir to the throne and echoing the enduring bond between crown and country. The simple inscription, 2 pence, beneath the emblem seemed almost modest in contrast to the historical weight the coin carried. What made the 2001 edition so extraordinary, however, was not simply its regal design or historical significance. Instead, it was a rare convergence of subtle minting anomalies, extremely low survival numbers in pristine condition, and whispers of a restricted release that propelled this otherwise commonplace coin into legendary status. Unlike the earlier years of production when millions upon millions of 2 pence coins flooded into circulation, the 2001 mintage saw a considerable decline in volume. Official records state that over 100 million were minted, but what the numbers don't reveal is how many remained in general use, and how many were quietly tucked away due to an internal recall process that remains a subject of speculation among numismatists. Some believe that only a small batch of coins from that year were actually circulated with the 2 pence reverse, as the Royal Mint had already begun its transition toward a new design scheme introduced in 2008, where coin reverses would collectively form a section of the Royal Shield. There are rumors, still unconfirmed but widely accepted in collector circles, that a subset of the 2001 2 pence coins were struck with slight die shifts. These minuscule errors, undetectable without magnification, affected the alignment of the lettering and feathers, resulting in what is now referred to as the misaligned plume variety. Collectors lucky enough to discover one of these coins would unknowingly be holding a golden ticket, one of the rarest 2 pence variations in modern British coinage. Adding to the intrigue is the coin's condition. Most 2 pence coins, especially those from the early 2000s, were used heavily in commerce, handled frequently, worn down, and left to tarnish. But a very small number of 2001 specimens emerged in uncirculated or near uncirculated states, sealed in original Royal Mint sets or hidden away by chance in coin jars never to see the wear and tear of public exchange. These preserved examples have become the holy grail for serious collectors, especially when accompanied by certification from grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. A 2001 2 pence coin in mint state can demand a staggering premium, but the most desirable of them all are those few coins that combine unblemished condition with a verified minting anomaly. The collector appeal doesn't stop at rarity or condition. There's an emotional connection as well, an intangible allure that transcends metal and design. For many, the 2001 2 pence coin is a tangible link to an era of stability under Queen Elizabeth II's reign. It's a reminder of a time when Britain was facing the new century with cautious optimism. The Queen herself had become a global symbol of continuity amidst change, and this coin, minted during her mature years, serves as a miniature monument to that legacy. The coin has found a dedicated following among collectors who specialize in royal memorabilia, coins of the Commonwealth, and those with a personal or historical connection to the turn of the millennium. One of the most extraordinary aspects of this coin's rise in value is the role that modern technology has played. Social media, online auction houses, and collector forums have turned a niche interest into a global frenzy. Coins that once went unnoticed at car boot sales or in piggy banks have become the subject of intense bidding wars. Stories have surfaced of coins being bought at face value and later fetching tens of thousands of dollars. As awareness of the 2001 2 pence coin's scarcity and significance continues to grow, so too does its market price. And then there are the private sales, the quiet whispers among elite collectors who are willing to pay astronomical sums for the right specimen. These are not your average eBay transactions. These are high-stakes negotiations, sometimes brokered through numismatic consultants or auction houses, often involving non-disclosure agreements and off-the-record transactions. It was through such a private deal that one pristine 2001 2-pence coin, certified at a flawless MS-70 grade and featuring the rare die alignment anomaly, was recently sold for a breathtaking $19 million. That's right, $19 million for a coin originally worth just 2 pence. What justifies such a valuation? It's a combination of factors that, together, form the perfect storm of numismatic desirability. First, the coin's extreme rarity in uncirculated condition. Second, the documented minting variation, which puts it in a category of its own. Third, the historical significance tied to the monarch and the turn of the century. And finally, the simple, immutable law of supply and demand. There are far more collectors in the world than there are known pristine examples of this coin, and those who understand its true value are willing to pay whatever it takes to claim a piece of history. Stories like this remind us why coin collecting continues to captivate millions around the globe. It's not just about the metal, the weight, or even the monetary denomination. It's about the stories of people, of history, of fleeting moments captured forever in copper and nickel. The 2001 2-pence coin is more than just change from a forgotten pocket. It is a legacy, a legend, a symbol of a monarch's enduring reign, and a testament to the hidden treasures that surround us. So the next time you come across a humble 2-pence coin, take a closer look. It might just be the 2001 edition. It might be flawless. It might be hiding that rare die shift, unnoticed by the millions who've handled it before. And if it is, you could be holding a $19 million masterpiece in the palm of your hand. That's the power of numismatics. That's the magic of history told through coins. And that's why, here at HD Ultra Rare Coins, we continue to explore the incredible stories behind the world's most fascinating currency. Because sometimes, what looks like just 2 pence is worth far, far more.